I mean, honestly, the funeral yesterday was the pits because. Just saying, that you can access, we encourage you to access the following FAQs before taking the survey even. Or certainly in your thoughts around transit, and put the link there that if people wanted to go and do that, they can do that. And then we'd have them up on the web for other people who may not even take the survey, like it would be obviously very much available. So that was one thing. And then there were a couple of typo related things that I think Jillian originally suggested, and I missed a couple of them before I sent it out. So those are the two things that kind of shifted from what you got with the packet tonight.
I read it today and I thought it was much better.
Good.
I so exactly the way I would have written it, but I was like, does what I think it needs to do without, again, without like being this is about Madison Metro. I think he did a great job of incorporating the comments about ridership query
Yeah.
better. So
Okay.
I think it's great.
Great. Thank you. Laura, thank you for sending all the feedback that you did. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for all your good work. Did you get that typo under environmental impact?
Environmental impact.
Which numbers?
Value that having fewer cars on the road is
It's
better.
just, it has that.
Oh. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, of course, eventually this is all gonna be typed into SurveyMonkey, so,
Right.
I'll make sure, and in fact, what I typically do, since I do surveys for for a living, what I typically do is I would load it up on SurveyMonkey, and it can't be my account, so I'm hoping that I can use the city account. Hopefully, yeah, it should be the city.
Jensen. Or something like that.
Okay,
Mueller Peterson.
okay,
She does all SurveyMonkey. She's the editor. So she does all.
okay.
We can-
So anyway, what I typically do is have it put up on SurveyMonkey, and then I can have the Transit Commission like beta test it. To make sure that it's running smoothly, and if there's any kind of, typos that are left or double words like you just caught, Laura. That makes sense?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Anything else on the survey? Addie, any thoughts from you on the survey?
Like Doug, there were a couple questions I would have asked differently, but I see a lot of, my original influence from creating the previous iteration really shining through. So I had, a couple typos that it seems like Laura caught that, and I think, that we're going to get good information. And I think that we're going to be able to connect the answers and responses to this questionnaire to critical decisions that we need to make about the routes.
Right.
Right. So that's for
right.
me is the important thing is now that this isn't a hypothetical, this is, we need the input on your kind of values, preferences, and beliefs in order to make a decision about this. Please tell us what you think.
Right.
I think we're going to get that. I think we're also probably going to get a lot of just general comments because we don't really ask about anywhere the Madison proposal. And so I expect we're going to get a lot of feedback again on the costs and benefits of the Madison proposal in the open-ended question.
Right. And I would expect that too, but as we talked about at the last meeting, I just think because it's not as simple as, do you like Madison or do you like,
Right.
Monona Express? Because people have different bodies of knowledge around each of those, this is really about trying to address what people talked about. A lot of people talked about in the meeting, and I've heard from a lot of people since then, saying, show me the need. Like, how do we know that people are gonna take this, you know, or how do we know that people can't walk a mile to, or won't walk a mile to take it, or. You know, need it some other hour besides. You know, what the Express is currently running, right? So I'm hopeful. That we'll at least be able to, as you said, have the data that we need to be able to make some adjustments. On the routes or the times or the whatever, you know, these are like, again, the questions came from national research. That showed what. You know, what attributes are important for public transit. You know, in terms of whether or not somebody avails themselves of it, you know, and so that's what I was going on. Yeah.
I think the other purpose of the survey that we had talked about a little bit briefly is that this will also give us information about the community to feed to the city council. When,
That's right.
because you know, we're not making this, we're making a recommendation.
That's right.
And so, you know, I think the other question I would have for you, Nancy, too, is like, as a council member, will you be getting information about the climate in the community to help you understand and Mayor O'Connor, I see you there as well. Like, is this going to give you the kind of information that you need to understand the climate of the community and whether or, you know, and to take action and how to move forward with our recommendation?
Sure,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, I mean, I think data is always helpful.
Mhm. And we typically, in a situation like this where we've done a survey, the council always gets the full survey, all the comments,
But
which sometimes run pages and pages and pages and probably will this time too.
Oh, yeah.
So no, that's all useful.
right. Okay, so with that, should we move beyond the survey?
We get a motion to approve it. There's no need to approve the survey.
Included in today's meeting packet.
With the.
With the edits that were proposed that,
So I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, great. Just before I ask for a vote, just one other comment, Laura. I know that you had, in your comments, you had suggested adding a few other reasons why people didn't take. Don't take the bus. But you answered your own question in making those comments, which is. If it was that it doesn't come close enough to me. People, and so they check that box, they would automatically jump to the end where we want to find out. You know, how close, so that's why it wasn't one of the, you know, that's why the.
Right, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, okay, great. So with that, unless there's any other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
I
Opposed? Great, motion carries. So then the second item is, the campaign and marketing, work plan. That I put together, as we talked about after the public information meetings and even during the public information meetings. You know, we talked about the fact that if we were gonna do the survey, we really wanted to be all hands on deck and make sure that we were hitting all possible channels.
Mhm.
So that, you know, we get as many surveys back, as we can. So, you know, this was just I had this list last time, but I didn't break it out into individual sections, and I'm not suggesting that we spend a ton of time tonight, going through every little jot and tittle, but as we used to say in New England, I know that's a phrase you're probably not familiar with. But it's actually.
Say it again, Nancy. Say it again.
Jot and tittle, it's actually an English phrase.
You can be on way with words on Sunday.
Yeah.
There we go.
But nonetheless, if there are, you know, some things here that you'd like to volunteer for. to be a part of. We're definitely, in order to get all this together and then put together sort of a timeline of what needs to be what needs to happen when. You know, we're really gonna need help because we don't have the staff to do it all. And this Alder can't do it all. So.
And some of these are things that you can use the same thing in a couple different cases.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. There's definitely, there's definitely repeats here, but like, for instance, Patty. Did you not, didn't you do the 8.5 by 11 flyer
With Doug, yes.
with Doug?
Did we design it or did we just provide the copy?
Yeah, I think you and I had a Word doc table
I said the word
that
doc.
someone else was able to turn into the 2-page and actually print the flyer.
Yes.
So who did the design?
Leah, she has like, she had a design in the boss. Can't remember exactly what it was.
I don't even.
But Leah had design, so she's a marketing.
Right, and so is that true with our previous postcard too?
Yeah, she did she did a postcard design.
Okay,
So there was a front and the back. The back had the comparison, that was what
yeah,
Leah and Doug did, and there was a front was like.
She dressed up whatever we gave her.
Yeah.
right, but the last time we did a postcard, when we did the survey in 21, do you remember who did the postcard? Or you
We
said
didn't do-
Leah
We
has
didn't
the.
do a postcard.
I don't remember if we did a postcard
Oh,
yet.
no, we did, okay.
No, we
No,
didn't
so
have
she-
any budget at that point for any kind of marketing expenses. So
So, yeah, so I mean, so basically what happened, whoever designed it, I mean, Leah's good at it, we just need one.
Did she do the postcard for San Damiano?
Her and Jake worked.
Okay,
So she cleaned up Jake's stuff.
okay.
So are we volunteering
Well,
Leah to do the copy or to do the design rather?
she did the design, just have to give what information we want
Okay,
to say. And then we'll get the link. In that process, we would send it to, I can't remember the name of the company.
Wells Print and Digital.
So we send it to there, and
yeah,
that process takes good 2 weeks at least, just for them to review it. And then they go back and forth and we're sending in, make any changes.
yeah. so she's right.
2 weeks.
So we want to make sure it gets those new apartment buildings at the
Yeah.
current and.
So, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
be doing all
Harley and
that, just as soon as we get the, anything we want and cover.
And once it drops, it takes about a week.
Yeah, so what they end up doing is they deliver them to the post office
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah,
And then they have a zip code for the whole area, so they just got to tell which zip codes to use.
so,
So if you have an address, like an apartment complex, it's a duplex or something like that, it will go to both of them. As long as it has a postal mailing address, but for like the current, I don't know if they have like separate addresses there.
They have apartment numbers, I know that.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to work, so I'll touch base with them.
Patty has something to say.
yeah, Addie, you raising your hand?
Oh.
So you're on mute anyway, but thanks, Eddie, but we can get it just for what you're saying.
Yeah, so
sorry.
we have all the zip codes, there's the address,
Well, they have like carrier routes.
carrier routes that
Yes,
cover
yeah.
both cities.
Because 53716 covers half of them,
Right,
you know, East Madison too, and I know some of them are known as 53714.
Right,
So
so
that north end, but I think the carrier routes are more targeted.
yeah, he sent me a map of the carrier routes. And last time we accepted, I gave the okay, because I covered all of Monona, and Stella Madison.
And that's okay, a little
You have
bit,
to,
but
because that's part of the route.
so who's responsible for getting that mailing list, or does Wells automatically have
They
it?
automatically have it.
Okay,
So they send us to say, here's where you. They'll ask me, where do you want to send it? I say, oh, Monona. And they'll send us a map that says, here's all the carrier codes.
okay,
Are you okay with that?
did you use their bulk mail permit?
Yes, we're doing that one.
is anybody, and you said the person who does the survey is,
Jensen, so I just need like a final with all the corrections.
Yep.
We just send it to Jensen and she puts it in the system.
okay,
And she'll get that done in a day.
okay. Okay. So,
So we can do all that stuff. We just have-
would anybody like to Would anybody else on the commission like to do PSAs on VMO? Yeah.
Volunteering as tribute. I will write the copy and send it to you for approval.
Fantastic, thank you. Anybody else want to join Doug in doing PSAs for VMO, or is there something else that like jumps out at you that you want to dive into?
Hey, quick question in the room there. Apparently there's somebody trying to log in to join the meeting.
I just saw it. Sorry,
Thanks.
had my back turned.
Okay, good. Thanks for letting those folks in, Mark. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm always interrupt.
Yeah. So is there, as Mary just pointed out, there's a number of things here, like. You know, the notice at the library and senior center and the posting at the senior center and stuff like that, they're all are pretty similar copy. But,
I'd be happy to do that running around. I'd be happy to do, you know, the library and senior center and city hall.
fantastic.
I figure my best, most effective role would be helping with the data once it comes in. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of holding back to say, you know, who wants to help make the report? Yes.
Yeah. And I can do, the notice in the city e-news.
And I can do the lowdown copy.
And yeah, and obviously Mary can do the lowdown copy, and the reporting.
And I can do the Minnesota thing if you want, because I go to other meetings, unless you want something more extensive.
No, that's great. Great, I've already had, you know, we've already had article coverage in the Community Herald. But. And as he pointed out to me when he interviewed me for the last article, I'll be back to you. And I expect he will be, so I'm happy
But
to,
even without an article, they can put in a little blurb just with the link and,
right,
I mean, article would be good too. but-
right, that's how I can call him, so, Mark, could you take care of making sure that all of the other departments use their Facebook pages?
Yeah,
If
so
we get the survey up and it's going,
what we'll do is we'll do a blast. The city has one,
okay,
city blast thing. Jake Blast has a blast. I don't know if the library does, but I know they have.
Library, they do Facebook, but I think you want both the library and the rec department's email list, because they both have big email lists.
in addition to the Facebook?
Right,
So that's what I mean, they can
Yeah.
email it out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, is I
Yeah.
just, you know, it's.
their
it's-
Facebook is fine too.
Yeah, Facebook and email list both, I mean, we just know that there's other departments and, you know, obviously. Most of the departments have Facebook pages too, and they have a following, and so, again, the more ways we can.
It's one of those
Yeah,
things, we
yeah.
don't want to ask them to do that too often, but for something
Right.
like this, I'm sure they would do it.
No, they, you know, and whatever she has.
Okay.
Biggest thing is, I'm assuming you want to do a coordinated effort.
Yeah,
That's
So
all
we
the
want,
same.
we want to do it the same day, you know, the letters are going, the postcards are going.
right,
Yeah.
so I can put dates on this once I just wanted to, on the city web, we'll assume that City Hall is gonna handle that too, So, Jillian already said that she would be happy to make sure that the people that are riding either Lyft or Express. Also,
QR code.
yeah, we're gonna need to develop a QR for a lot of these QR code.
Hmm.
Again, QR code, so it's great in terms of coverage, if I could put dates to some of you know, estimated dates on these. Again, I don't know that I want to tie up time at the meeting tonight going through dates, but if we were to shoot for the survey being up and already beta tested by you guys so that it's pretty much ready to go by February 1st? Does that sound as a good launch point?
Yeah, do you want, will somebody email me the thing, get to Jensen, or will you just email directly to Jensen?
I can email it to you.
Okay,
You, I mean, you're gonna be involved all the way.
right, just want to make sure I get the final copy before I send it to her.
Yeah,
You know, one thing I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say, I told Mark today, and I mentioned to you, I think Leah has been working on a short narrative of what these kind of describing the routes. I mean, it's not gonna go street by street, but as I said, I had no idea until I heard like a week ago that when the G line gets down to Park Street, you can get an express bus. That is not, I mean, you can see that in the map, but I think it helps to have somebody tell you that.
okay.
So Leah is putting together,
separate thing from
narrative.
FAQ.
right, a
Yeah.
separate thing from the FAQ, and I told Mark, I do not want this postcard to go out until both of those are up on page.
Right,
On the website, because we really have to be sure people look at that,
right.
you know.
So, but I'm thinking if we could get this survey ready by February 1st, and we'll make sure that some of these other things are in line in terms of like the postcard and all that kind of stuff before we actually, you know, we're not gonna. I mean, in other words, if that's put together work plans all the time, and if that's a, you know, a date that to shooting for in terms of having the survey ready, then that will help me flesh out the rest of the dates in terms of when things should be done.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
2 weeks from today, isn't it?
Yeah. So, so terrific. Any questions about the work plan? And then if not, we'll move to FAQs.
Do you want postcard to be front and back or just one way? Just more for the expense. You want to put stuff on both sides?
Well, it's kind of dumb to have one side with just the
Right.
mailing address on
Okay.
it, so,
I think you want something colorful that's gonna
Yep.
get
Right.
people's
Yeah.
attention.
So I just want to. double
And I
check.
want it, I think it should be a good size postcard, like the one you used for the San Damiano survey,
Okay.
not one of these little
right,
Okay,
4x6 or something. I think people just don't even notice those.
right, and I can, since Leah's gonna design it, I can certainly draft some copy. Does Leah get the QR codes?
we'll get them.
Okay.
I said, I gotta talk to Jensen on that. all.
Okay, okay,
I know those two work all the time together. Serving the key things.
okay, great. All right, are we ready to move on to FAQs?
How about how long do you anticipate giving people time to respond?
I would think a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's typically with a survey, you know, it's diminishing returns when it first hits. And I mean, in my business, we don't go outside of 2 weeks with San Damiano. I don't think we went outside of 2 weeks either. We might have gone a little bit longer than that, but again, unless you're constantly hitting people with reminders, and we'll do some of that certainly on, you know, VMO and some other things, but you know, I would say probably if 3 weeks.
You
With
need to
some
kinda allow a little
reminders from the time that
leeway
it's
for the
launched.
mailing time, because
Huh?
you never, I said
That's
you
right.
need to allow a little leeway for mailing time,
Exactly.
because you never know
Of course,
when they're
yeah,
gonna take it.
yeah, of course, yeah. So probably about 3 weeks. And you know, and as I said, we can hit people with reminders, you know, in the various media channels and PSAs and everything else that we're talking about, but. And try to get a boost, additional boost after that, but, and we can sit at the end of 3 weeks if we're still feeling like we're. You know, it's kind of, I always go by percentage of return. But I know, you know, and because, I mean, generally speaking, if you're getting a 10% return on. A survey, anything above 10% is considered a good thing, but you know, we want. obviously, we're doing all hands on deck for a reason, so, so we'll probably shoot for about 3 weeks and see how it goes, and if we feel like we need to double up and do some more, we can. That makes sense? Okay.
One thing that's super helpful in SurveyMonkey, and if whoever's designing the SurveyMonkey needs my help, I'm happy to help out with this.
Good.
Is that we can have them put together a little email that they send out, like say every 4 days after,
Fantastic.
that just says how many people responded per day,
Yeah,
right? How many total responses? And if we can get that sent out either to all of us
yes.
or to you guys to forward to us, that's one way that we can be more, I think, a little bit more active in our follow-ups. So yeah, if those can start basically whenever we open it up, and then, it doesn't have to be every day. Like my surveys, when I have a survey in the field, I get these twice a day, but that's because I'm really controlling about
Right, I was
responses.
gonna say, I get mine every hour because survey.
Yeah.
No, I do. No, I don't get it every hour, but I do get it, same thing, I get it a couple of times a day, SurveyMonkey will ping me and let me know how many are there, so, yeah.
Yeah,
it'd be
so
helpful to
that
know
information I
that.
think will be valuable to us,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if after, the first 6 to 8 days of
Yeah.
the surveys in the field, if we don't have enough responses, we can do another big push on a lot of channels.
Good point. Okay,
So kind of based on those, we'll probably have the feedback then for our March meeting to review the data. So
yeah, the goal would be, the hope would be that we, if I, like, again, I'll put deadlines in here and kind of knowing how long various things take, and any additional notes based on what we talked about tonight, and then we can make some small adjustments, but hopefully, that we would have feedback by the March meeting to discuss. Tallies to discuss, okay? Anything else on the marketing plan? Okay, so that takes us to FAQs. Forgive me, this was just a brainstorm. I didn't wordsmith. It's been kind of a lousy couple of days for me. So, and I apologize, you guys, that I didn't send it to Mark because I literally was jamming all day. I mean, like I was up at 3:30, so I'll just start there. Leave it at that. What are you saying, Addie?
I was going to say, Doug, can you snap a picture on your phone and email and text it over
there
to
you
me?
go.
Absolutely.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've got my text. Is that kosher?
Yeah,
yes,
Okay.
I don't know that I have your phone number, but I'll see if I do, and if I don't, I'll email it to you.
Oh, that would work too. Thank you.
And Laura too, yeah.
yeah, that'd be
Great.
great. Thank you. So again, the idea behind these FAQs is we would put them up on the city's web with all the other transit info that we've been doing, and that Leah's doing. And I would put a link in the opening paragraph of the survey or second paragraph of the survey specifically to encourage people to go to the FAQs so that when they're because I hope that the FAQs will answer a lot of the questions that came up. They should answer a lot of questions that came up during the info sessions and some of the information that we know is still out there that's not accurate. So, the first one is obviously, has Transit Commissioner City of Winona already made a decision to go with Madison Metro? We got an email about that today, and as you know, we haven't. We wouldn't be putting in all this time and energy if we had. And so, but I thought I would start with that one since there's still, perception out there maybe that we've done it. So relates to the second one is the current route map by Madison Metro a done deal. Again, this came up today because Madison Metro has posted a map, and even though the map says that it's a draft, right at the top, it says draft system map, it has Monona on it. So again, those two just were obvious to me. At the last meeting, Doug, you brought up that some people thought that seniors had to take a physical to qualify for paratransit.
That was what was written in their application materials. I didn't
It's,
make
I
that
think
up.
they do it like at their. You go in, it used to be that you went in person, I think,
You do go
To
in
their
person, but
office.
they don't do a physical.
but they do sort of a evaluation, I think.
Yeah, but it's
Isn't
not
that
a
what they
phys-
said, Laura?
Certainly not a physical. I have that
No,
definitely not
checklist right
physical.
here. Yeah.
I think it's more if they see you coming in with a walker, they'll think, yeah, you need.
I don't know
So-
why they did it. It's just what I read in their materials and it sounded like anecdotally, they said they were switching to a virtual format. for
Yeah.
that.
I think.
No, I don't
COVID
even- I
kind of
don't-
forced them to that.
I have them at paratransit.
They
app.
call it an assessment. Be
Yeah,
prepared.
it's an assessment, it's not a physical. I mean,
Right.
they're not allowed to, they're
No,
not
but it's like a-
doctors. Right,
A physical assessment.
they
sort
just
of,
want
yeah.
it, no, and they want to see people in person, because otherwise somebody could. Like. Voter fraud.
Be
You know,
prepared to
somebody could
discuss how a
send in an
disability.
application saying that they had all kinds of, and they would have no way of knowing.
Right.
Right.
So they just. That's why they've offered to pick people up, but there's both in terms of HIPAA and everything else, they're not allowed to like.
Pry into your.
Pry into your your medical stuff, or any of that,
Well,
so,
it's just the reason I brought it up
Yeah.
again was I was worried
yes.
about what the acceptance rate was.
Right.
'Cause I don't really have any good proof of what. How many people will be accepted into the paratransit program.
But they do, because they actually were,
Sure.
at the senior center, they said they have not timed on a single person.
Okay, and I missed part of that
Yeah.
public hearing because I was only there
Yeah.
for the first half hour.
Yeah, well, she said that very specifically.
Okay.
She couldn't remember in the 3 or 4 years since she had been there, and she's the one that processed the
And
application.
they've been doing them
so-
online for the last few years,
Right.
or virtually.
Right.
So I should rewatch that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, yeah, feel free. So anyway, the question's there because I know that there's still senior concerns that somehow they're not gonna qualify. So again, I'm trying to get the right, I always believe you gotta get the right questions. It's my, and I worry about the answers later, do seniors have to take a physical qualify? How many seniors that apply for Madison Paratransit are denied access? Does Madison Metro use big buses for paratransit? Can Monona just expand service hours of Monona Transit? To serve, or Monona Express? To serve those that need transit. At other hours, how much longer will it take, or will it take longer to get downtown on Madison Metro than it does on Monona Express? Or Lyft? Can Madison Metro just add stops on Broadway and Monona Drive and not offer service on the west side, Monona Drive? Come up a lot. Can Madison Metro buy or provide Monona with a smaller bus? Can Madison Metro use an electric bus in Monona instead of diesel buses? Are we gonna be locked into a long-term contract regardless of who we? Whatever we do, are we locked into a long contract? What will be the transit options if I just wanna go to the grocery store? I'm worried about safety, what training, safety protocols and records to Madison Metro and Monona Transit and Lyft. I'm reading these because obviously it's not part of the packet. What do they have in place? How many transfers will be required to get to some key spots around town? I thought we might have. Some
Pick a
sort of
few
a map or
scenarios,
something like
yeah.
that, yeah.
I do
Scenarios
think
or
you
map.
could also, I don't know if you saw the list I sent you.
I knew that you sent me a list, but for whatever reason, it wasn't downloading on my.
That's
computer.
okay. Will I have to go through transfer point? Because I've talked to several people who think they still will have to go over to Woodman's
Right.
or, wherever and. Oh,
Where-
we
is
don't,
it- Will I
you know.
have to go through transfer for what, though?
Well, right now you have to go through a transfer point just about any place, to get any place, because they have this kind of spoken hub sort of thing.
Okay,
You don't just get on a bus and go directly downtown. But they're getting rid of the transfer points, it's my understanding, isn't
Right.
it?
Right.
Yes, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, so I think that's,
But if our bus goes straight downtown and back,
Yeah,
Right,
And the-
and it doesn't even make a lot of stops, which is part of the timing issue, because people were thinking that that
Right.
our bus was gonna stop as many times as the current bus does going out of Cottage Grove.
and
And
we
it
need to tell
doesn't, because they
people
gotta
that.
be back here.
and then they, I don't know if anybody picked up when you talked to, it's basically running the same route as ours. It's the same stop, so when you're talking about, it's gonna run, basically, it's gonna run the same exact route and see the man. Was run the
To the hospitals and
hospitals and
everything,
back, so
except that it'll be going down Stoughton Road, right?
that's the only part that's different.
But once it leaves,
I mean, once you leave, yeah. So downtown is exactly the same.
In some of the correspondence, there was, people thought we would have a route running every half an hour. So I think one of the questions, unless I missed it, should be how often will the route run?
yeah,
Okay,
Because I think a half hour is more concerning to people than a once every hour.
true.
okay, and Mary, do you have more of Ramirez?
I do have more
Yeah, I mean,
suggestions, yeah,
yeah,
I do. Let's see. I work at UW. Will I be eligible for a subsidized bus pass? I think that kind of helps promote, because $48 a year, I mean, to go anywhere on Madison Metro, that's a pretty good deal. This is something I'd like Diane to provide. Will there be opportunities provided for Monona seniors to take a bus to a grocery store or Target or wherever? Because we
Yeah,
have
I
these
have.
others, those others. Yeah, but it's different than how do I get to the grocery store? I
Okay.
think we want to list those other agencies that we contract with. There's a couple of them who will take people like once or twice a week. Bus, do you remember, or bus, Mark, do you remember what they are? There's like a bus that picks them up once or twice a week and takes people to the grocery store. And it's not for student, it's some other.
Right, one takes the Woodlands or someone take. There's some other, I don't remember the exact name, it says
I-
RSVP.
RSV, I think we need to get something
Well-
in there about other opportunities for Monona seniors outside of paratransit.
Could you,
Right,
you
and
word
that-
it as, will RSVP still take me to the grocery store?
Yeah, maybe that's-
You know, things that maybe people are using.
Take
will, like-
paratransit riders to the grocery store.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, I just,
Yeah.
because I don't know that service.
I don't either, but I.
Because we don't administrate.
and that might help some of them feel better
Yeah,
if they know some of these other
Right,
things.
well,
will
that's
still
why I
be
had,
there.
well, my,
Absolutely.
what will my transit options be if I just need to go to the grocery store or shopping?
But
Well,
except that
so
won't
then you
apply to
could-
people who aren't paratransit though. I mean, that's just the seniors for the most part.
could anyone get on that?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
It's a senior. We
So
have
it
to
would
check with
only
Diane
apply to seniors, okay,
Yeah.
all right, we can add that in, what else?
and find out where they go, Mark. I know they go to Woodlands. I don't know where else.
Yeah, there's
I think they go to East Town like once a week or
Yeah.
twice a month or something. and-
We can get that from Diane. she has
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, so,
Did you have
I did have a couple others.
did you send, Mary, did you sent them to my city email?
I think I sent it to your work email, maybe. They're just in a regular email.
Okay,
Another one is how much will it cost for an adult, student and senior?
yes, there were a few things like that that I didn't put on, because I figured that was on the sheet, but you're right,
What will the hours of operation be?
yeah.
And related to that, will it run on weekends? But you'll probably cover that
As far as
now.
the hours of operation, we haven't.
We could say approximately
Yeah.
or something, but just to make it clear that it's all day, it's during the evening, it's weekends. And then this other question, which I think you kind of
Adult,
covered,
seniors and,
students.
Okay.
Hours of operation will run on weekends, and I think you sort of covered this. Can we do a mix of what we have now? Access the Madison G and L lines, but keep a separate bus for Monona Loop? I know that issue's been raised.
okay.
The one FAQ that I think is relevant to, I mean, me as a bus commuter is
Yeah.
real-time bus information and schedule information on my phone. So I know that, Madison like I can just use Google Maps in order to see real-time bus information and plant my routes and stuff. I didn't know if that's like, I don't know if a lot of people have asked about that, but it's certainly when I've been listening into the Metro Transit, those kind of questions come up. And then of course, the other thing is about credit cards, using your credit card to buy bus fares on the bus, which doesn't work for us and doesn't work for Madison Metro yet, but
So you have to pay cash or buy it like a pass or something, is that?
yeah, you still have to
Metro?
buy Metro, you still have to buy a pass beforehand. There isn't like a way to quick buy a pass on your phone. So you do have to still have some cash, but supposedly that's going to be changing.
Okay.
So the
But right
question
now-
would be, so the question would be, can I use my credit card to buy a pass?
Or
I suppose you
how-
can pay for a ride, huh?
Form of payment.
Yeah, and then how do I get real-time information on the bus, real-time bus, what is it called? They call it real-time bus departures or real-time bus tracking. I don't know what they call it. I'm looking at the Madison Metro website to see what they call it.
It's similar to what we have on our bus, isn't it? Or do they still have that where you can see where the bus is? Transload.
That's just a brand name though. It's not like a
It's just a
common name for it.
Okay,
Bus tracking seems to be, route tracking seems to be.
any other things, Addie, that you can think of? Or Laura?
I'm wondering about the big picture. If I'm, because we heard people at the meetings and there's lots and lots of people, I live with them, who don't know a thing about this.
Right,
They have no context for something like these FAQs. But so there will be an update of the,
That's what
basic
I'm saying, so
information or
probably-
something about the process or the timetable or.
yeah, I mean, I think, I was thinking today when I was doing the survey about, a paragraph or two, but again, I don't wanna put it in the survey because
Right.
if the opening is too long in the survey, nobody would click through. So, and I think Addie can probably confirm with that as somebody who does surveys, it's like, it's already long. By survey standards, so. But I do think that there can be, when we do the emails that we're sending out to people and
Or
we're
the
doing the
postcard.
articles, and when we do the postcard or whatever, we can. And on the city's website, we can do, kind of do an overview. And then have these various docs available.
If
So-
I get a postcard, none of my neighbors has been here more than a year.
Hmm,
None of my neighbors has lived here for more than a year. We moved in a year ago.
Yeah.
right,
So if we get a
See-
postcard and it says, go to this website, and
right,
it says, you should really read these FAQs first. Or even if it doesn't say that, these FAQs would mean nothing. Do you see
Right.
what I mean
Right,
about
well-
the context?
right, so that's why I'm saying, we're not just gonna say, go to this, the postcard's not just gonna say, go to this and take the transit survey. It'll say, say more than that.
Oh, I see.
So we'll definitely, we have to be careful about. Not putting too much, because again, people won't go buy it, even if they get a postcard with too much, but that's
I
gonna
hear
be
you.
the trick is balancing. Because there are very definitely different degrees of. Of knowledge and capacity, so. So yeah, we'll between,
Between Leah's explanation, the FAQ, we have a page called the Future Mass Transit Monona, right? Isn't that where they put all that on that page, put a
Right.
link? Laura, just for example, in your apartment building, do you have like a bulletin board or something where you could put a little poster,
No.
like nothing like that, huh? Okay.
No,
So you actually got your postcard when it came last time? Individually it came to your mailbox?
a postcard?
The last postcard we did all the public
it was
hearings.
the 8.5 by 11. It
Oh,
wasn't
about
a
the public
postcard.
hearings?
Yeah, do you remember seeing
Oh.
that?
You didn't get that?
No,
Did you get a postcard about the San Damiano survey?
I think I just got an email.
Wow, that's not good then. I think we
So-
need to clarify with Wells that, of course, they may not have all those
So we have to figure out.
addresses on their list because they're so new. I don't know.
Well, their
We
map-
have a new zip code. We're 53713.
Their map
Mm,
covers it, 'cause I remember seeing the map.
Right,
I'm just
but-
wondering if the post office guy, or the mailman, he's doing the fees.
Cause they should be, I know,
So
is
when
it
we
for the, I
put-
guess when we have like the voter registration, I mean, it has their address and it has the apartment number.
Yeah,
So but I wonder how quickly that gets into the post office's database and the
Right.
database Wells uses. It's been a few months though since you
I
did that
think
mailing.
that this, I think we need to dig into this.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, as somebody who's chaired plan commission. This is also an issue when we're sending out notices about developments. People in apartments are saying we are not getting information. It goes to whoever the owner of the building is. And if the owner feels like posting it and they happen to, like, you just asked Laura if there was a bulletin board somewhere.
Of course, that's a different mailing list than what we're using at Wells.
I
That's
know, but
That's
I
a
just
city
want-
mailing list.
I get it, but I'm just
But, yeah.
saying, I think we need to make sure, because if it's not, we gotta
It's
figure
a
out
lot
a
of
way
people
to,
are missing.
we gotta,
Our
we gotta
landing and-
distribute it. And
Yeah.
we gotta figure out a way to distribute it.
well,
They want to have Laura go door to door.
Yeah. I know there are some people here who use both Monona and Madison Metro.
Cause they
There are
can
a lot
just walk right across the street, right? To
Yeah.
get Metro.
Right.
Okay, so if you think of any other, I will update the FAQ questions and take a stab at answers, succinct answers. And I just have to be realistic here. I can update the questions. Would anybody else like to take a stab at,
Well, one of the answers we should have already, just general stuff, so it's gonna be, we can take a look at them. A lot of them, I can ask Metro for information.
or it won't take me that long to do the answers. I'll update the questions, send them out to you if you want to wordsmith the questions, or if you think of other questions we haven't thought of tonight. Feel free to add, and then we do have we have virtually all of the answers of the questions we've asked here, so we're just trying to put it into a form that people can get the information. And get it up with the rest of the information on the city's website. And again, we'll have the survey and the other materials we're producing. We'll have a link to that so people can get and, have FAQs available at other places like senior center and libraries like that. Okay?
Mhm.
Anything else on the marketing or the FAQs or the survey before we close unfinished business?
So the goal is to have information back by the March meeting, yeah, so.
Right, the goal is, and I pretty sure that's the timeline that I gave the Herald when I did the interview, is I thought we would have the data back by March and, but then we probably wouldn't be, obviously, we would just be downloading the data in terms of figuring out what it means in terms of routes or demand or recommendations or any of that I didn't expect that we would make a recommendation until later. Again, we've always talked about mid-year as kind of a goal.
Mhm.
There was a question today from someone who wrote in, just a single person, but nonetheless, I'll even toss it out here. Of will there be additional public information meetings
Mm.
once we get the data? And. Of course, I said that was not my decision and I would bring it to the commission. I think I kind of feel like it depends on what the data says.
Because the biggest thing too, I think would be, once you get the data, you're to figure out the exact route, right? So then. So we do, then we put it out there, does that do a public hearing then, or just come back to transit meeting people here?
I mean, I kind of feel like, I don't know, when I hear from the rest of the commission first.
I think at a minimum that, oh, sorry to interrupt, Doug, go ahead.
Go ahead, Eddie, you're ready, let it rip.
I was gonna say, I think that our marketing plan for distributing the survey
Yeah.
should be a mirror for our marketing plan for distributing the results of the survey. And hopefully that's adequate. Because yeah, I mean, certainly I think we need to do a better job of distributing the results of this survey than we did the last time, but whether that ends up resulting in a public hearing and a discussion of the results, I don't know.
Right,
But yeah, mirror the marketing plan for distributing the results.
yeah, I mean, maybe not do a whole postcard because those can get doing so many postcards. A, they get ignored after a while, and B, I mean, people are gonna be getting other postcards during this period too. Keep in mind, because we're in election season
So,
and also, but maybe mirror the other things. You know, putting on the PS, the PSAs, putting it on the city's website, making sure it gets in the Heralds.
having a few hard copies.
Hard copies in the senior center, library, city hall,
So
Yeah.
we've got 3 public hearings under our belt.
yes,
We've gotten over 70 correspondences, maybe, I don't know.
We'll have a thoroughly vetted and well participated survey.
Mhm.
I think that's enough information for us to
Base our recommendation on.
I do, I agree.
And then. I think that it's up to the council to decide how they wanna like. Hear our recommendation in your sessions, and if you wanna have like. A public hearing, obviously, all city council meetings have a public hearing section. But you might wanna
In the pre-written section.
be able to allow a lot extra time for feedback.
We could do that.
Make it. Give people 2 chances, I
Yeah.
don't know, like, give it 2 readings,
They would
whatever.
certainly have 2 readings.
So I think that there's still enough built into the normal process here that I wouldn't hold another one.
I
Unless
agree.
we discover something that we missed completely,
I agree,
that we wanna. Go back and resurvey.
I agree,
So,
agree.
Great question, when would you, because we talked about the routes not finished yet. When would we be deciding that, as
I
soon
would
as
think that'd be part
Transit
of your
Commission makes a
recommendation,
recommendation
right?
to the council, like, here's the route we're gonna be. They can do whatever they want.
I don't know, I mean,
Or,
we've been given very few options for a viable route, right?
right.
There's a couple of routes that work in 20 minutes.
Right. I know we talked, somebody
There's some
mentioned,
minor tweaks that we can make to it, but. I think like, for me. The route is. I don't know. There might be information about the route from the. From the survey that we can glean.
right, but I think if you're gonna bring it to the council, they're gonna want, okay, what is the route?
Right, right. But
Yeah.
you don't have to
That's-
decide on that today. so-
Yeah,
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know what technical. Information. We need. Benefit from making a final decision on. I think like for me, it's like. What is a safe route that covers? If we were to recommend going with this proposal, what would be a safe route that would cover? As much of the city as possible, knowing that. You have to live within 3/4 of a mile of the route to be qualified for paratransit, which makes. Planning the route important
correct.
for coverage purposes as well as just.
Can it be within 3/4 of a mile of the G or L lines too?
Of any route.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that'll
that's right.
kind of take care of that south end.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's enough, and that's easy enough to map. But yeah,
If we're chewing the results in March. Conceivably, we could make a decision in either April's meeting or May's meeting at the latest, right?
Yeah.
Based on all that feedback.
Are there any other city committees that have a purview on this route, public safety or plan commission?
plan shouldn't. Public safety, do you think, Mark? I don't know.
I can talk to Dan.
It's just that some of the questions we've gotten feel like they're not transit questions so much as they are another committee, you know, like.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, well, I know certainly the plan commission has, you know, if I think back to the DEIB report. You know, one of the recommendations was that, you know. There's. An alder that sits on the plan commission and on the transit.
Right. That was part of the deal. That's what you do.
I think that's because
Right.
of some of these developments that we like, the
Right.
affordable housing ones in particular, that we want to be able to have bus access.
Right, but
that's
even,
exactly my point though, right? Like
right. So I don't know
somebody
that-
who's got a good lay of the land in Monona for where. You know, real service access is important,
Right,
should have a say in the,
And I think they have, I mean.
yeah, if that's the case.
I think we're pretty set as far as that goes, don't you, Nancy? I mean,
Well,
the
yeah,
way
I
the
mean,
route,
I-
that's part of the reason we designed the route the way we did.
yeah, I mean, that's part of the, you know, certainly part of the. As we all know, the main corridors, you know, Broadway and that's where most of the development's happening.
Seniors,
And the seniors,
Housing
you know,
things.
which is why we had originally picked Owen because of all the senior development in Owen. So. And every developer, you know, and every new business, not just, you know. Not just housing, but, you know, for instance, One City Schools, as, you know, has talked about the importance of having public transit close by. North Point has certainly talked about the importance of having public transit nearby, so, so I, you know, I feel like. I don't know that. You know, I can certainly update the plan commission as part of the plan meeting.
I'm not,
but I don't
I would
think, I
just
think
trust
that'd be
you
the
guys
route
to
to
know,
go. I
like,
wouldn't,
Yeah,
I'll check with Public Works.
I think Public Works, the only question might be, once you decide the route, are these streets gonna be able to handle the buses? I assume they are, because we have concrete trucks.
That's what I was gonna say, it's the size of the bus, weight, to fit
Yeah.
on certain. But again, that's if you can go both for students and
Right, and that's not an
that's
issue.
not an issue, so it's still. Okay, so I just want to make sure that people ask, is the wrong decided.
right,
So wait for the feedback.
And I guess that would be another thing, just the thinking of Laura's comment about context and things in that descriptive thing. We need to do a little description on what our current service is. I mean, because these new people, a lot of them don't know that what we currently have is, you know, Monday through Friday. 3 or 4 loops in the morning, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just, now we're considering
Isn't
this
that
other-
already on the postcard that we did before.
well, I don't even mean on the postcard, but I'm just thinking on the website.
You can put it-
Yeah,
No, I know, but we have the postcard on the website.
oh,
But
okay.
there's that table, could that table be updated?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
the-
that's what I mean, that's what I, when
Yeah.
I say postcard, that's what I mean, the table, yeah,
Okay,
so,
Is there a place, I know that we're less is more, to talk about the city's sustainability plan and how this fits into that? That was impressive to me when I read about that.
well, it not only fits in as sustainability, it fits into DEIB.
Yeah,
I think you could take these excerpts that I put in my report and. Publish those somewhere,
Yep,
but it's a lot, so I don't know that it's,
right,
Right,
It's not little tidbits, you kind of got to read the whole
couple
Right.
pages.
Right,
I
it's
think
so
it's-
consistent. I mean, it's so relevant to this.
Right, so I think, again, because less is more in terms of not doing too much writing or else people won't get through it, we could do some bullet points. As sort of the entry description rather than giving paragraphs of, and then, tell people where else to go if they want to dive deeper into it. Because I'm just afraid if we get to, and then have the FAQs and have the table, because I'm just really afraid if there's too much information, people just won't go. I mean,
Right,
they'll just check out. Right?
right.
And they may want to look at one thing and not the other.
Right.
So there'll be links to FAQs. Right, or there's gonna be ways for people to like go to stuff if they wanna know more.
There is a future of Monona Transit page on
Yeah.
the city website.
So we can
The
just
one
make sure all
there's gonna be-
of those topic areas are there.
Yes, exactly.
Yep, people can click on them if they want.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Does that make sense? Um. Fantastic. I mean, we could even add FAQ questions of how does this fit into the sustainability goals of the city, or how does this fit into?
There's a 100-page plan. You want to read that?
Our, yeah, the goal. Okay. Anything else before we move on to new business? All good discussion, you guys, thank you. New business discussion, potential committee contributions or suggestions to the city ongoing expanding DEI initiative. Hmm?
I need to put the B in there for next time. I think it's really this whole metro.
Yeah.
Included conversation. That's all.
Yep. Anything else? I do know that the new DEIB implementation group
Yep.
is starting to meet, right?
Next
Week?
Wednesday, is it, Mark?
24th at 5 o'clock, next Tuesday,
Tuesday.
at the public library,
Oh, is that where it is?
because CDA is in here.
Oh,
At 5.
that's right. I forgot about CA.
Okay. Anything else on DIB? Anything else in general? Besides the motion to adjourn?
Thanks for the updates to the survey.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you.
Sorry you woke up so early.
Oh, yes.
It's in part because I was so darn tired yesterday that I went to bed. I went to sleep too soon. Again, you guys, Addie, Laura, thank you so much. I'll be sure to thank Jillian too. Really appreciate all the feedback. And all the discussion. Do I have a motion to adjourn? How was that? Oh, sorry, how was that sub, Addie?
Always primo, and the most important thing is you need to get the day-old ones so they've had time to kind of meld together. They're way better.
Really?
What a good hint.
Really? That is good to know.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that tip. Now I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Good night. Thank you all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.